What was the matter with this program?
NXT sucks. It sucks every single week. Maybe at best you get one segment or two that are okay. But this is a bad professional wrestling show. This is 2 hours of misery every week.
I actually started keeping the times of when something good happened and how far in the show it was. By the way, this is NXT for January 13th. We're speaking of. So we're going to try to have a little fun here because it just got to the point where we have to laugh. The opening match was Shitsy Blackfart versus Mrs. Sameface. Hit me in the head so I can see some stars. 20 minutes later, my fast forwarding got me out of that. The first 20 minutes of the show was Shitsy and Mrs. Sameface. Let that sink in for a second. Then we got to Finn Balor in the ring. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Here's a star. I can honestly say I like everything about Finn Balor except how he holds the microphone. Did you notice that?
I didn't.
What? He's holding the microphone in his right hand and his right elbow was cocked at a 90+ degree angle up. And go back and watch this, and he was holding it out to the side. I don't know, it was very strange. Anyway, he did a pretty good job. Balor looks good. He's got the accent. He fucking delivers the material. He's a badass in the ring. And then here comes Pete Dunne, Lorcan, and Birch. And Dunne's got the microphone. And I was like, oh my God, Pete Dunne is going to talk. He has the emotion of a person under hypnosis. And every time he talks, I get very sleepy. He walked to the ring doing his hostage statement of how he wasn't going to wait any longer to get a hold of Balor. All I could think about was, where's fucking Pat McAfee? These guys with McAfee's mouth in front of them, you could buy these guys against the Undisputed Era, whatever. Left to their own devices, you have, there's Larry, there's Curly, and there's Shemp, there's no Mo. Anyway, they jump Balor, and suddenly a wrestling program broke out. Did you see the way Finn Balor fought back and creatively and believably and ducking and sticking and staying ahead? It was a nice little scrap. And the heels had to work to get Balor down. And that was fantastic. And as soon as they got him down, they got some fucking good heat on him when they got him. Remember, I always say that guys act like they've never got heat before. They got awkward heat or whatever. These guys were spaced evenly around him. They were throwing the boots. They were making some noise. Their fucking arms were flying. There was some sound and motion. They're getting some good heat. And then Kyle O'Reilly makes a comeback. They glom him. Strong and Cole make that save. This was the best physical angle in just a minute and a half, 90 seconds or whatever, that I've seen in ages on any program. They just nailed what they were supposed to do. And then Balor and Era have the stare down. But at that point, we were 30 minutes into this program, and we just seen two really good minutes. And that's the first 2 really good minutes of this program. So can they not just send Cole, Strong, O'Reilly, Fish, whenever he's back? Can they not just send them out there the whole time? They're the only consistent fucking guys. What'd you think?
I think Balor's great. He's great on the mic. He's great in the ring. For a smaller guy, he's physical. He's believable. Really good.
Dynamite kiddish.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Pete Dunne. I know others just love him and rave about him in the ring. And he is good in the ring. I don't think he's as good as other people make him out to be, but personality-wise, I don't see it. And considering they have a show called NXT UK, there's a lot of guys with British accents on this show. Yes,
a multiple amount, including with the announcer. Wait, we'll get to him in a minute, because, Anyway, the next match, the Grizzly Odd Jobbers against Everrise, who I guess we're going to just see Everrise every week. This is the Dusty Rhodes Classic. They've somehow put together 16 teams, and you can tell that they didn't have 16 teams to begin with. It ain't the fucking 86 Crockett Cup field, I'll tell you that. So
I don't know what's more offensive, the name Dusty Rhodes being attached to this or the word classic.
But I skipped this. Did I miss anything?
No, you missed nothing. Two teams I don't care at all about. You know, you would think Ever-Rise, it's not the greatest name. And then Grizzled Young Veterans are there with the stupidest name of any tag team out there. Look, maybe these guys are good. I don't know. But if I'm supposed to give them a chance, they're not being presented in a way that's going to make me do that.
That's conducive to get you to actually watch any of their shit.
This show is boring. This show is just so
boring. Well, it wasn't really, because I've fast-forwarded most of it so far, so it wasn't really boring to me for one.
See, I don't do fast-forward. Usually when I get to a match like this or the Shitsy Blitzy match, I do on my cable remote, I have the option to skip ahead 30 seconds. That way, if I miss, if all of a sudden I see a guy celebrating, I'm like, I missed the finish, let me go back 30 seckends. Sometimes with fast-forward, you're like, oh, shit, I went too far, now I gotta go back. Oh, I went far too back, I gotta go forward. I just didn't want to see any of this. And the little bits I watched were just, of this match specifically, just who cares? They have AEW has a shit show tag division. NXT is the worst tag team division maybe of all time. Who cares about any of these teams? Other than, like you said, Strong and Adam Cole.
Most of these guys are good and well-trained, but most of them aren't great. And it's just, and the names and gimmicks and presentation that they're all given is just so blah and fake and nothing real and overproduced and all the same.
Yeah, when I first became a big wrestling fan, and I know, everyone gets in at a different time, but I love tag team wrestling. And in the WWF, you had the Hart Foundation, the Rockers, Demolition, the Brainbusters, you had the Rougeau Brothers, the Bushwhackers, the Powers of Pain. None of those teams were alike. They were all different. And the NWA, I had the Road Warriors, the Midnight Express, the Samoan Squat Team, Doom, the Steiners.
No, it was the Samoan SWAT team. The SWAT team.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, that was on my mind. By the way, great tag team name, SST, Samoan SWAT Team. None of those tag teams were anything like. Rock and Roll Express came back beginning of 1990. None of those tag teams were anything alike. Now everyone just seems in NXT so bland that they're interchangeable. If I took one guy from Ever-Rise and put him with one of the Grizzled Young Veterans and said, this is the new tag team, it wouldn't make any difference. No one would care still. Who cares? Who cares about this match or this tournament? What's next?
All right. Well, there we go. Nice pitch. Dexter Lumis versus Johnny Sameface.
Now, hold on. Did you see the setup for this match?
I just fast-forwarded until they were all in the ring.
Johnny Gargano is doing an interview backstage with Mackenzie, who I'm starting to like. I actually think she's one of the best people on the entire stupid show. And he's, acting like a heel. I will say, once again, I think the hipster Hitler. That should be his gimmick. Because he's got the mustache in the middle that's thick, and then it's like really thin all around it. He's got a Hitler mustache. But anyway, he's acting like a heel, and it comes across like he's acting. And then Austin Theory shows up behind him acting goofy and says, we got this envelope here from Dexter Lumis, this serial killer heel. And of course, it's a Jerry Lawler-like caricature of Johnny Gargano. And then you turn it around, it's a drawing, a cartoon of Austin Theory, and that sets up the match. This guy who doesn't talk, who stares through people, who does the crab walk, likes to draw cartoons.
He's an accomplished caricaturist.
He's a regular Mort Walker.
Well, Beetle Bailey, I'll just have you know. All right. 50 minutes into this program when this match starts. We haven't seen shit yet. By the way, the Hitler mustache thing, do you remember when Paul Jones had his army and had the fatigues and the riding crop and the helmet and everything? And he'd always had that big, thick Paul Jones mustache. And what he did was, he didn't just show up one week with the Hitler mustache. He started over a period of time, he shaved like a quarter of an inch off of each side. And he'd show up every week on TV, it'd be a quarter of an inch shorter. Until finally one day they looked, they said, that's a whole goddamn Hitler mustache. And then, no, Paul, I think he had to get rid of the whole thing then. Anyway, I don't know what to say about this match. It looked like a bodybuilding mechanic beating up a junior high school male cheerleader. I can't take Gargano seriously. Yes, he does all the moves, even though he has the same face, and he's also 5'8" and 170 pounds. Lumis is incredibly athletic. We've talked about the gimmick that I think limits him. I do not see anger or hatred or animosity or triumph or fire or passion in his face or his body language as an element of robotic. He's gotten out of it a little bit, but, you know, and then there's Gargano's face. And basically, Austin Theory interferes, and Gargano rolls Lewis up and pins him. Lumis. It's 100 pounds. Lewis, whatever. Dexter Lewis. It's 100-pound fucking difference. There's a man and there's a child. Blah, blah, blah. But then Lumis got his hold on his fucking neck crank thing on Theory, who had kind of interfered. And that was the best 30 seconds of this because Theory was selling it and he's so animated. And then the heels get on Lumis, and here comes Kushida and makes a big save. Helpful hint, guys, from somebody who's been in and around the wrestling business for 45 years. Just because you make a slapping noise, your punches can't miss by a foot and a half. Did you catch that one? Kushida on the way out nailed Theory with the big Superman punch, and it was so super, the force of his fist, the wind off of it, caused Theory to sell it from a foot and a half away. But there was a slap noise. And that, the fuck? And Gargano is the North American champion?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. He's a champion in this fight. Because so any wrestling fan who might flip by and say, oh, I'll give this a try, sees that and go, that's the fucking champion. The whole thing must be a fucking joke. And boom, done. Closing thoughts on your part?
No, I don't have any thoughts about this.
Good. I said we were going to laugh and have fun. Actually, we had to suffer through this to get to the laughing later. Two other guys that I like. I wanted to see their match last week, and they postponed it. Now, apparently, it's going to be next week, the Fight Pit match. Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. A sit-down interview in a studio somewhere with Wade Barrett. Did they just take this off of a 2008 TNA show? Because that's what spooky background music, building tension, robotic announcer questions that Wade Barrett was obviously, I mean, it wasn't even a hostage statement delivery. It was more like animatronic. He had obviously either memorized these or were reading them off of a cue card. And then Thatcher and Ciampa do a dramatic in quotation marks, delivery of scripted verbiage like it was a movie scene. And they're acting like they're actors acting in a movie. And I hated this. It was absolutely fake. It made me not like two of my favorite guys on this program because especially the only two guys that look serious normally in their matches and look like something could be legitimate about them. And this was one of the phoniest things on the whole program. Am I being too hard on this, or was this obviously slap you in the face, fake, pretend movie acting?
It was acting. That was the same exact thought I had.
Well, at least I know that I wasn't crazy. And then they did an Undisputed Era promo in the back that was about a minute long and was the most personality that anybody had shown on the program with Cole and O'Reilly and Roddy. And then the next match, I believe this one is also in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Jim Crockett Sr. didn't have to fucking put up with this. Jake Atlas and Swerve Scott tag teamed against the team of MSK. And all through the show, they were billboarding the debut of MSK, and they were asking the question, who is MSK? They had a graphic of them that had just black outlines. You couldn't see any, there were no people there. Brand new team. We don't know anything about them. Well, who's it going to be? Was that the biggest fucking letdown? Turned out, who is MSK? Nobody else knows either. 2 unknown, never heard of guys come out. And the way they announced them, they had a lower third graphic for a team name that said MSK, but they announced their names. But the way they announced it, I thought they said, what's the guy's name? Carter? Something Carter? Ash Carter? Anyway, I thought they said Ass Cutter.
Nash Carter.
I thought they said Ass Cutter and Wes Lee. I'm like, Ass Cutter?
Apparently they used to be in Impact as the Rascals.
You mean they've actually been a team for a while and worked before and somebody's seen them and they decided to debut them on television?
I'm looking it up, and apparently they were in Impact. They were the Rascals.
Wow.
Their former names are Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, and now they are Wes Lee and Nash Carter.
Wow, I thought this was a team that they were bringing in from the training program and trying to give a big debut to, but that they were new and had not been, okay, well, now I can't be complimentary. I will say, Jake Atlas is given serious competition to Johnny Sameface for the most boring award. I'll say that. He's in everything. You can't get rid of this guy. Remember, we had to see Atlas every week. We couldn't ever see Theory at all. The first MSK guy starts with Atlas, and he has a muffin top and prison tattoos. He's like a dumpy white guy that's like average height of the rest of these guys and no physical definition whatsoever. Bad either do-it-yourself or prison tattoos, and fucking his conditioning is horrible. And he's never seen a tanning bed. And he and Atlas did some gymnastics, because he can do that, I guess. And then Swerve gets in, and they did some gymnastics. And I'm like, okay, are they heels? Are they baby faces? Who's on which side here? What the fuck? You can't tell from watching this match who you're supposed to be cheering for. They're just doing some moves. And then Wes Lee. So the first guy, the Nash Carter guy, was the guy with the prison tattoos and the muffin top. Wes Lee comes in. He's got a great body. He's ripped. He looks good. He locks up with Swerve and gets a hold, and he couldn't figure out the very first hold he got. Did you see that? He got Swerve's wrist, and he took him down, and then Swerve was trying to get him to spin around and do something, and he's just holding the wrist, and then he's looking at it, and Swerve's trying to kick him and do something, and finally Swerve just jerked him down and gave him a knee to the face and fucking grabbed the guy and slung him to the corner and made him tag out. Or no, Swerve tagged out. He cut him off and tagged out and let the other guy worry about him. And then they went into a big, long fucking deal where everybody hit a move on somebody back and forth, just one right after another, and you couldn't tell who was doing what, and they went to the break in a complete mess because they're trying to show this new team that has all these moves. The whole thing, second half was even worse. And the problem is, it's the biggest mess I've ever seen with 2 unknown guys and 2 underneath guys, Atlas and Swerve. You can't just go out there and go 100 miles an hour. People lose track of which one or who they're watching. Not only that, but they can't keep track of which team is ahead because it's not visually obvious to begin with. So they did so much goofy shit in this thing, it should have been on AEW. And that's the thing, you rarely see this much obvious cooperation in NXT because they're usually trained better. That's why I thought these guys were brand new. At one point, old Wes Lee got a tag for a comeback and actually got back in the corner and pointed at the guy in the opposite corner that he was about to run into and yelled, "Stay there!" Did you see that?
I don't remember.
He got a tag. He got in. He's running wild. There's a guy in a corner. He points at him while he's looking at the guy's partner. He screams, "Stay there!" And then he runs and hits him. And then this was some of the part where I was having fun because Stacy had just been walking Harley and she comes in the door right after this had happened. And I backed it up. I said, "Watch this." They put, I believe it was Atlas, down in the middle of the ring, and the prison tattoo guy gets next to Atlas's feet to do a backflip. And the guy that couldn't figure out the wrist lock, while the backflipper's in the middle of his backflip, he pushed backflipper 3 or 4 feet forward so he landed on Atlas because the guy was going to backflip and miss Atlas completely on purpose. And she started laughing and said, why didn't he just backflip onto the guy? The guy's laying there motionless. You could have just backflipped on the guy. But no, he gets completely down at his feet and backflips nothing so that his partner can shove him onto the guy. Did you see that move?
I did see that, yeah.
Why didn't the pusher just stand over Atlas's head and the backflip like he's going to backflip onto Atlas, and then the pusher push him down with emphasis, like boom? That would make too much sense. Anyway, this was rotten. And the fucking white guy in MSK looks like a tattooed sewer worker. And we were an hour and a half in this fucking program. Who won? I can't remember. Did I write it down? No.
MSK, I think, won.
Okay, well, good. That's good for them. What'd you think?
You summed up my thoughts. I don't give a shit. I didn't care. They didn't impress me. Who's MSK going to be? And I saw like various theories online. But it's the Rascals, who I've never seen or heard of before.
It's the Rascals. Which one's Spanky? Which one's Alfalfa? The little Rascals. The next match on this parade of terror. Xia Li is back on the fucking monkey hormone. She's probably gained 25 pounds since they've been doing those vignettes where they were starving her and beating her in prison. She came out of fucking a penitentiary and gained weight. She's on the Hogan vitamins, and she wrestled. Actually, no, she didn't. There was no wrestling involved, but I didn't get the girl's name. But they circled around, and then the girl ran at Xia Li. Actually didn't run at her, ran past her. And as she ran past, Xia Li completely whiffed and missed a punch to the girl's face, but the girl went down. She went down when she heard the leg slap noise. That's how she knew to go down. And then Xia Li did a spin kick that the girl stood up into, and the girl blocked the spin kick to the chest with both hands in front of her face, which didn't even need because the kick was going to be in the right place. But that's when you block kicks like that, that's how you get a busted face, because your hands get kicked into your face. If she'd have left well enough alone and just stuck her tits out there, she'd have been fine. But anyway, and then 1, 2, 3. I think that's the only match I've ever seen where 100% of the moves were missed.
I thought this was the highlight of the show. It was quick. I like Xia Li. She seems intense. She seems like she's actually believable. I don't know they got rid of the old guy. Now there's just some creep sitting in the back. I don't know who that is, but...
Is that an old man or an old woman under the mask in the chair?
You're assuming old. We don't even know that, but this was under 2 minutes, and I liked it better than everything else on this show.
The main event, 1 hour and 45 minutes into this program. A semblance of a main event, if you will. Fan Dancer, or Breeze, what is their real name? Breezango, Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Right, Fan Dancer, whatever the fuck. We've talked about it's a rotten gimmick. But past that, Tyler Breeze is an okay worker and an average white guy. And that's it. Nothing special on the look, and he doesn't do nothing special. And Fandango has been in the middle forever, and you know what you're getting there. It is what it is. And the gimmick is brutal. Roddy and Cole are a step ahead of everybody else on this show so far. And so this was an okay tag match. You know who's going to win. At least you hope you know who's going to win, because this would have been a crime if it had gone the other way. But during this match, Harley needed belly rubs and got her duck. And as soon as I realized what was going on, it was pretty much over. Pete Dunne and his bald-headed Britishers attacked Kyle O'Reilly, who was on the floor, to make sure that nobody interfered, and then Finn Balor saved him, but then they got Finn Balor down in a big schmoz on the floor. But then basically all those guys disappeared, and the match in the ring started again, and Undisputed Era won. And it was a nice action in the whole fight and everything, but it was a mess of a finish. That was what it was. The best part about it was rubbing Harley's belly.
I can't add anything else to that. I mean, this show sucks. I mean, it sucks. And I like Cole and I like Strong, and they're in there with a tag team that I don't know why anyone would want to see on TV anymore at this point. We've seen them forever. They even gave them the tag team titles after them just being jokes on the show for a while. They were jokes on the main roster. Even though I think Fandango actually had a lot of talent, but he was used in that manner for a long time. Tyler Breeze.
I'm not going to take anybody named Fandango seriously.
Tyler Breeze, like you said, at least he used to have a look. Now he just looks like a generic guy. And I knew who was going to win this match. There was no question of that before the main event even started. And I hate NXT. It's so bad. Maybe it would be better if it was 1 hour and they tried to get a bunch of this shit in there. But it has become unwatchable.
And the problem is, if it was an hour, I guarantee you they'd concentrate on the same face family and some of these goofy gimmicks and flippers instead of the real talent that they have, which is getting thinner now, apparently. If we're not going to see Priest and Ripley on this program anymore, goddamn, we may have to. But what is our options? Then we have to watch either Raw or SmackDown.
Well, we don't have to weigh AEW against another show. We could find a way.
No, it sucks all on its own.
Yeah. AEW, I can watch and it's bad. And I'm like, okay, there's stuff to talk about here. NXT's just so insipid. It's so fucking bad. I don't even understand why anyone likes it. AEW, I'm not crazy about a lot on that show, but I understand why people like it. I don't have any idea why anyone has liked NXT for at least the last year. Because it's not a good show.
Well, I think, I understand why people like AEW, because some people are demented and delusional. But I don't know. Anyway, that was NXT. We'll go over to AEW in a minute, but for heaven's sake.
And then there was a brawl at the end. I don't know if you even saw that.
Well, yeah, there was a big fight with everybody, right? There's always a big fight with everybody. It's the same thing every week. They had a big fight, right?
Yeah, and then Finn Balor came out to help the Undisputed Era, and then they gave each other weird looks. And
yes, they all stare at each other after the people who perpetrated the shit disappear for no apparent reason. I don't know.
Well, that was NXT, and I will say, if you ever said, Brian, I don't know if we're going to watch NXT anymore, I wouldn't put up a fight. Because even if something really good happens, we'll hear about it. I mean, we can DVR it.
Let's see what they do with the fight pit next. I think we're going to have to. This is going to be the first war where nobody actually wins. It's just everybody got sick and tired of looking at both sides and just went home.
Man, look at the matches these shows put on first. There is no war. There is no war. It's just two countries, lobbing missiles into the sea. There's no war. 20 minutes. Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae. 20 minutes. There's no war. There is no war.
Shots into the sea. Shots into the sea with Shotzi. Folks, if you are sick and tired of watching crummy wrestling and you want to make 2021 your year, it's time to change things up. We may be changing things up. We may just say, fuck it, and throw our hands up on this NXT program. You may want to say, fuck it, it's time to change things up. I'm going to throw my hands up in the air and start with some self-care. Well, if you do that, you need to start with Hawthorne, because Hawthorne is the premium tailored personal care brand that makes it easy for guys to feel and smell their very best. You go on the website, you take the quiz. What's your favorite drink? How do you like to spend the night out? You give them the answers and they factor your answers into the results, and they recommend products for you that are tailored to your interests, to your needs, to your wants, and to your likes. And don't we all want tailored shit? Folks, I know that if you take this quiz today and start on your personalized self-care routine by going to Hawthorne, that's HAWTHORNE, Hawthorne.co. If you do that and use the promo code JIM, J-I-M, you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Purchase? Did I say purchase? Baba Wawa. I'm very happy off your first purchase. That's Hawthorne.co, promo code JIM. They've got the soaps, the potions, the lotions, the personal care products that you will enjoy, and They take the risk out of it by giving you free shipping on your order and free shipping on the returns. If you don't like your products, they'll retailer them for you based on your feedback. If you want to upgrade your self-care routine, folks, it's a fun and convenient way to get super high-quality products tailored specifically for your needs. You got some tailored soap.
They did.
They tailored it.
I reordered more, actually.
They brought the inseam up to where you wanted it, and they had those lapels on that bar of soap real nice and everything, the tailored soap. I know I can smell you from here. You smell great.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's all because of Hawthorne.
That's exactly who it's because of. That's who's at fault here. Hawthorne. They're the reason why Last smells so good. Hawthorne.co, and the promo code is Jim. You know what to do. Go from there. What are you doing, Brian Last, this week on your various programming?
When I'm not using my Hawthorne, and I have to say, I talked before about how much I love the dark rum hand soap, the bar soap that is tailored based on my quiz results is so good. That's the one I just reordered. It's the best bar soap I've ever had.